Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So today I have an updated build guide for Ines for episode 2 of season 2 with Arche Tuning and Inversion Reinforcement and things like that. So she is going to get a nerf soon, early April according to the devs. When that happens, if the builds need adjustment, we'll look into that, but I'm not expecting a big nerf. She should still be very good. Now, what I'll do here is, in order to save time, I'll quickly explain the abilities of Ines for newer players to the game, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff of the adjustments I've done with Arche Tuning and things like that. Okay, so for the new players, let's just quickly explain her abilities, and I'll use the preferred Transcendent mode, which is Time of the Hunting House. Again, I'll not go into too much detail because that is the preferred one. Everybody uses that, and for this experienced players, they already know this. Okay, so let's actually get level 260 enemies. 260 invincible. Let's just get one for now. Okay, so first ability is called Floating Lightning. She shoots these electricity balls in front of her, hits the enemies, it bounces between the enemies if there's more than one. If there's only one enemy, it'll bounce between Ines and the enemy a number of times based on how you have set your modding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is the number when you max it out. Okay, so it'll bounce between, do damage, and it'll also inflict the status conductor. This conductor status will last for 30 seconds. When this conductor status expires after 30 seconds, there will be another status which you'll see in same thing with a black background. That is called dark current. So when enemies are inflicted with dark current, they take more damage based on your enemy. Okay, and this causes an explosion. If there are enemies nearby, they'll also get the status conductor and so on. So chain sort of effect. So even if they have a lot of health, they'll keep taking damage. So that is the first ability. Okay, straightforward. The second ability, basically she does this, which inflicts more damage. This is called conductor coils, electric coils. And basically, again, if the enemies were already inflicted with the conductor status, it'll do more damage. If not, they'll get this. And so you use the combination of 1 and 2 and do more damage and things like that. Okay, so this is how the second ability works. This is not used that often, at least I don't use it that much. And now let's get into the third ability, which is very interesting. So what she does is she crouches down, charges up, dashes forward, and does piercing damage through the enemies. She goes through the enemies and does damage. And then at the end, she does like a backflip and explosion, which does more damage. So this is what it will look like basically. So these guys got the pierce damage, these guys got the explosive damage, this guy is still standing. So the way this works is it has a minimum 10-meter range and a maximum 25-meter range. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So if you don't get them with the pierce, you'll get them with the explosion at the end. So this is again a skill that we don't use very often. I rarely use it. I don't even remember I have this. So let's get them back to formation. And this fourth skill puts a big circle around them. This is called a snare hunter. Enemies within this will take multiple damages. All the statuses will trigger and things. So you can see 260 enemies dead quite easily. So these are basically the 4 skills and the breakdown. The key thing you have to remember is the fourth. Actually, let me just empty this here. So when you use the fourth skill, you also, by the way, get a speed increase. Your sprint speed goes to 1300. Okay. I'm just trying to use up all the plus. So if you see at the bottom where you see all her skills, the first 2 skills are available. The third and fourth are grayed out. The reason for this is the first 2 skills use MP, and the third and fourth skills use the second bar at the bottom called plasma, which is the custom resource. You get plasma by using the first 2 abilities. So you use that to kill enemies, inflict status, and generate plasma. When you have enough, you use the third and fourth abilities. That's why we mostly focus on using the fourth one. Fourth one gives a speed boost, has a big range, and so on. So the two things that you need to take away from here is we want maximum 7 bounces, which is the max. So we want the 7 bounces of our first ability, and we want as much range as possible, so we inflict the status and damage on enemies. We want to have as much MP as possible, because more MP means more crit rate and more damage. Okay, so that is the basics for the newer players. All right, so now let's talk about the external components, reactor, mod page, things like that. So for the external component, I have electric and tech, obviously, and the two substats I have is critical hit damage and skill effect range. Now I've gone with range. Best in slot would be something like crit damage and tech skill power boost ratio. You can also use this one, electric skill power boost ratio and crit damage. Crit damage is like the main number you want because she has such a high crit rate. Adding more crit damage will just do more damage. So this is a good one you can use. But you can also have cooldown instead of range. You can have maybe cost. So you have various options, like critical hit damage is the main one. Now for the external component, I've gone with the full 4-piece Slayer set. This gives us a flat 26% increase to power, and there's nothing else that can do that. We do increase our skill cost by 15%. However, I have a workaround there as well. Now onto the mod page. All of this is pretty much exactly the same as last time from season 2, but using Arche Tuning, Inversion Reinforcement, well, not Inversion Reinforcement, but the range on the reactor, I've been able to adjust this. So now, first up, look at the range of her skills. So Snare Hunter here, in the second section, Thunder Snare, duration 10 seconds, skill power, etc., etc. Max expandable range 200%. So you can increase her skills by 200%. Okay. Continuous damage range is 7.5 meters. It is now 20.6. So we are well beyond double the range. Okay. We don't need this much range. However, in order to get these 7 bounces, we need more range. So even though the range for her skills is more than double, which is beyond the max, we still need more range to increase the extra bounce. The maximum bounces we get is 7. So for that, we have a few range mods here. Now what we were using last season was something like maximize range. So this will be overkill. We will get our 7 bounces, but we lose 20% skill power. So you can see here from 255 we went to 235. So we'll not use this. We can use amplification control. This will also give us our 7 bounces. However, we are only getting shields as a bonus. If we use frugal mindset, we are getting 22% skill range, and we're also getting some cost reduction, and we'll still get our 7 bounces here. So this is what I ended up using. So without this, if we look at the MP cost for the first ability, it is 17.2. It goes up because we are using the Slayer set. We're getting more power, but we're also using a little more skill. For the fourth ability, the plasma cost, the second bar, is 402. With the frugal mindset, the first skill goes down to 16, which is only a little reduction, but it's still something. And this one, fourth one, this goes from 400 down to 372. So that helps quite a bit. So let's recap the mods here. We have 2 mods for cooldown, MP conversion and nimble fingers. Skill insight gives us skill critical hit rate. We are trying to get 100% crit rate. We have skill concentration to give us crit damage. Front lines, this gives us both, but more crit damage and a little less crit rate. This is enough to get it to 100%. That's why we went with more crit damage. There's another mod called emergency measures, which gives us more crit rate and a tiny bit of crit damage, but that would be unnecessary because we are already at 100% crit damage. And then we have the main range mod, skill expansion, and this one for more range and cooldown, and the skill cost, sorry, and one mod for HP. And then we have focus on electric, focus on tech for the power and the cooldown. So these ones give you 6.1% cooldown each, and of course the power. So this is basically the setup. So with this, what we have managed to do is 100% crit rate, max skill range. Again, we don't need max skill range. Remember, the skill range for her skills is to 200%. We are at 300% here. But with this, we are getting the extra bounce, 7 bounces of our first ability, because that is the main ability we use. Now, our cooldown is at 75%, which is pretty good, but we can use the inversion perk to reduce it further. If we go here, inversion reinforcement, over here we have On hitting an enemy with a skill grants Arche circulation tactic skill cooldown minus 24% for 10 seconds. Okay, so what we do is we summon a Voligus. Let's get everybody here. We just want to hit them once, and the result is we are at minimum skill cooldown 90%, and because we got that extra from the inversion. Now the inversion also here gives us incoming damage modifier, but we are getting the cooldown, so that's fine. When hitting an enemy with the firearm, again we may not be using the firearm here, but it will help as well. I've gone with this one to give us max HP because we don't have a lot of HP. She's fine, she doesn't need to be tanky, especially because so much range in terms of her skills means that she can stay away from enemies. You can drop her fourth and just run away as well. So this will give you defense as well. And of course this one here gives us movement speed when you kill an enemy. Okay, so right now what we have movement speed wise is 1256. Normally it's 800, but because I have a secret garden with 3 sprint speed cores, I'm getting 1256 as it is, plus the secret garden's pest control ability, which gives you more power as well because you use tech skill. So that's the gun we are using. So pest control triggers when you use tech skills. All her skills are tech skills, so we'll be getting extra power here. Even if we shoot the gun, we'll be getting extra power. And also just holding the gun is giving us extra speed. If we make this guy invincible, not invincible, I mean, and we hit them, we get more speed as well with the inversion perk. Okay, so this is the setup I have. I've tried to max out the crit, max out the range, max out the speed, and with the inversion we can max out the cooldown as well, and we are getting over 5 times crit damage. Now final piece of the puzzle is the Arche Tuning, and what I've ended up is this sort of setup. We went here for the skill power, we took the range here. This is why we're saving on the maximize range mod. We're using the frugal mindset instead. I'm targeting these MP nodes here so that we can get more MP, because more MP means more power, more damage, and more crit as well. And we are taking the crit rate, crit damage mods here because we have max crit rate. Only thing that is not useful for us is the skill duration, because we don't have a duration mod, and we are getting 30 seconds on our conductor. We have 10 seconds on our fourth ability, so there isn't really a need to increase that. Enemies die much faster anyway. But we need this to connect to the different nodes, so we are taking these. And so this is the setup. I've gone for all the skill and MP mods we can grab. We are not taking the cooldown because again we can max it out with the inversion. We're taking the range, all the power here and power here. So that is the build here. Remember, if you don't have range, go with one of the range mods like amplification control to get the 7 bounces. Maximizing the range of our skills is not a problem. It's the bouncing that needs the extra range. Okay, so that is the mobbing setup. Let's talk a little bit about the bossing setup. Now for bossing, the best reactor would be additional attack versus Colossus and skill critical hit damage. So critical hit damage remains the same. We are taking additional damage against Colossus. So we put this here and we keep the Slayer set and we go here and do this. Only difference, as you can see, well, 2 differences. What you see, let me just switch this around so it looks similar. If we switch here, notice the final 2 modes are the ones that are changing. We are using amplification control. Now you might be saying, why are you using amplification control? Because I don't have range on the reactor, so we'll be missing out on the 7 bounces without this. And then instead of HP, I've gone with dangerous ambush. Now this will make you very glass cannony, but if you move in quickly and use your first and second abilities, the boss will get staggered before they can attack you, and you can kill them very quickly. We end up with only 2,200 health, but this is enough. Our MP has gone up to 447 with all the Arche tuning and all of that. Okay, now as far as the bosses are concerned, I've tested this, and the only one we struggle with is Gluttony. Everything else we can, all the other bosses, all the way up to Molten Fortress, we can kill without them getting enraged. So you can kill them with 10, 15, 20 seconds comfortably. Okay, even Swamp Walker, which I thought wouldn't work, but worked. Now, the reason why gluttony doesn't work is gluttony has a very high crit resistance. So if you go here into the battle info, you'll see here crit resistance 70%. Okay, so this is why we can't get gluttony easily. She has 100% crit rate, but this guy has so much resistance to the crit that it doesn't work out for us. So you can still kill him, but he will get enraged, and you'll have to do the mechanics of hitting the pink balls and all of that, pink bubbles, I should say. And then you can still kill him, but he won't go down without and getting enraged. So 1 to how many are there? 1 to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, up to Molten Fortress, you can clear with just her skills, just spam her skills, and you'll be able to get them in 10-15 seconds. So yeah, so that is the bossing setup for Ines. And I think I've covered everything. Oh, Arche Tuning. For the boss Arche Tuning, we go this way. We drop these three, okay, the MP, and we take the Colossus nodes here. That is the only difference. This will give you a little more power. So if you look here, we get more power here. We need something with the additional damage to Colossus on the reactor. Otherwise, those nodes won't apply. So that is the bossing setup. And yeah, I think I've covered everything. So mobbing done, bossing done, mod pages, reactor. Again, use the reactor that you have and adjust accordingly, but this is what I have come up with. And the final result is 100% crit rate, 5.15 crit damage, maximum range, and when we use the inversion and the cooldown, we get 100% cooldown as well, and well 90%. And sprint speed goes up to 1300. Even without it, we are at 1256. So that is my Ines setup. Very comfortably, you can clear most of the stuff in the game. Only thing you'll be stuck with is like the Void Abyss and the Gluttony, but all the other content she can clear very, very quickly. So yeah, that is it for this one. Thank you for watching. See you next time.